Meeting will now come to order. Welcome to the September 25th meeting of the Raleigh Historic Development Commission Certificate of Appropriateness Committee. My name is Wes Tripp, and I am chair of the committee. The COA Committee is a quasi-judicial body governed by North Carolina General Statutes and the city's Unified Development Ordinance. We are authorized to hear requests for certificates of appropriateness. But before we get to those, matter of some housekeeping items, first I'll recognize staff for a roll call.
Jordan Ryland.
Here.
Lauren Woodard. Here. Wes Tripp.
Here.
Rob Allen.
Here.
Melissa Todd. Here.
We have a quorum. Next, I'll recognize my fellow commissioners to introduce themselves. I'll start with Jordan and then work our way down the table.
My name is Jordan Ryland. I'm a local architect and Raleigh resident of 15 years.
I'm Lauren Woodard. I'm also a Raleigh architect, and I've been here about 12 years.
Wes Tripp again, chair of the committee and attorney here in Raleigh.
I'm Rob Allen, Raleigh native, architect registered in North Carolina, and a resident of a registered historic district.
I'm Melissa Todd. I'm a licensed architect, and I also live in a historic overlay district.
And now I recognize staff for their introductions.
Hello, I'm Colette Canane. I am a senior preservation planner, and I have a master's degree in historic preservation.
And I'm Erin Morton-Pugh, the other senior preservation planner with the city for 5 years, and I also have a master's in historic preservation.
And committee's attorney.
I'm Pat Jones, counsel to the committee.
All right. Next is the approval of the agenda, which was published. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or debate? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is approval of the minutes from the August 28, 2025 meeting. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as published.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or debate? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Staff, minor works in the last month?
In the past month, 12 minor works were approved. The addresses, application numbers, and a brief description are included in the meeting agenda, and full applications can be viewed on the city's website.
Thank you. We're now ready to proceed with the applications on today's agenda. In hearing cases, the committee conducts a quasi-judicial evidentiary hearing. That means today is like a court hearing. State law sets specific procedures and rules concerning how this committee must make its decisions. These rules are different from some other types of land use decisions like rezoning cases, which are legislative in nature. This committee's decisions are constrained by the standard of review set forth in state law and the UDO and the facts presented at the hearing. The committee hears and considers evidence presented at the hearing and applies the standards set forth in state law and the city's ordinance. The committee must base its decisions upon competent material and substantial evidence presented at the hearing. If you will be speaking as a witness, please focus on the facts and standard, not personal preference or opinion. Participation is limited. This meeting is open to the public. Everyone is welcome to watch. Parties have rights to participate fully. Parties may present evidence, call witnesses, and make legal arguments. Witnesses may testify as to facts to which they are competent to testify, so long as those facts relate to the legal standard. In addition, lay or non-expert witness testimony is limited to facts, not opinions. For certain topics, the committee needs to hear opinion testimony from expert witnesses. These topics include projections about impacts on property values and projections about impacts on traffic safety. We will now conduct the evidentiary hearings on today's agenda. The first item on today's agenda is an old application, COA 82-2025, 810 through 816 Brooklyn Street. I'll recognize staff for their presentation. And while staff is getting ready, if you have not already, for anyone visiting, please sign in at the table here by the podium. I recognize staff for their presentation.
Sure. So as you mentioned, this is COA 82-2025 for 810 through 816.
I need to swear you all in first.
Oh, that's a great point.
Usually y'all catch me on that.
I know.
Please raise your right hands. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
I do.
You may proceed.
So this application should be familiar to all of you. This is its third time before you all. Updated materials and an updated staff report were provided with the agenda. The request remains the same to construct 2 primary townhome structures, install a driveway, and install front walks. And again, these are the previous structures that were approved to be demolished on the site, but just quickly scrolling through what that looks like. An abbreviated summary of staff concerns are the scale and massing and material details and specifications that are typically provided as conditions.
Thanks. Now I recognize the applicant.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Molly Stewart, Morningstar Law Group, here on behalf of the applicant Waypoint. I have with me today David Bryson, architect, previously sworn in as part of this hearing. I do have some handouts for you today as well. That includes a copy of the slides, oh, thank you, as well as the updated elevations and some massing diagrams that were requested.
To bring up your slide presentation.
Oh, is it not next?
I didn't. It was too big to combine, so. There you go.
Thank you. So we are grateful and humbled that you're here to hear us for the 3rd time today. We have worked hard since we've last been here. And after our previous 2 hearings, we went back, we watched the video just to make sure we captured everything. We understand the scope of the comments has narrowed significantly. So this last time we heard 4 themes emerge. One, that design details are generally congruent. Some specific details were called out on that front. Also, we heard a concern that the request is more akin to a rezoning rather than a COA. So we do want to briefly address that today as well. We heard that an amended proposal is needed, and we've brought you that today. We've also heard that some additional detail is needed with respect to height. We've brought that as well. So with that, I will jump in. I'd like to note that Andrew Thompson, applicant, is here with us as well. Also previously sworn in. Glad you're here. All right, so just briefly with respect to design details, last time we heard only favorable comments on that point, specifically related to the use of dormers, the craftsman style, the double hung windows with 3 or more panes on the upper sash in particular, so we will not dwell on that. We also heard that this request was more like a request for rezoning and not truly trying to stay within the district. So we want to take a look at that. We understand that those are sort of 2 paths that applicants can take. And it's something that I know that this group has seen as land values and historic building types diverge over time. They can grow increasingly out of sync and build that pressure to remove land from a historic district. This request before you is not that. This is not an attempt to circumvent that the full rezoning process, but in fact to reaffirm the design guidelines. And so we want to talk about that today. Part of that is comparing those 2 options. So in this case, the site is surrounded on 3 sides by 3- and 4-story mixed-use zoning, some of which to the south there is in the historic district, most of which is not, to the west and to the north. There are several structures in place that reflect that character. If the property were to be rezoned consistent with those surrounding properties without the historic district, which would be part of a rezoning, a height of either 50 or 68 stories would be permitted here, depending on whether it was the 3 or 4 stories. Both are adjacent. In addition, the design guidelines that Andrew and David have worked very hard to address through this process would no longer be binding in that situation. So that is sort of that. If that were the direction chosen, that's the world we would be in. But as we've seen, this is not an applicant seeking to make that change. This is an applicant not looking to ignore the character of the Glenwood Brooklyn district. Andrew and David have truly tried to reflect that character, to join the neighborhood, to be part of that fabric, rather than to simply leave the district and join in with its other neighbors. The last 2 themes we heard at the August committee meeting were, 1, a request to amend the application, and we have that today to more as well as to more clearly support the proposed height. So we have both of those here for you today. First, the proposal has been amended as to height. What you see on your screen here is the proposal as it existed at the August hearing. And these are the changes that are proposed today. So I just want to flip back and forth a couple of times to see that change, so truly bringing it down. And at this point, I'd like to invite David Bryson up to address the changes that have been made and to describe those for the committee.
Hi, hope you guys are doing well. And you guys are mostly architects, so you understand we basically just took a floor out. I mean, in a nutshell, tried to keep the character of the building the same. I wish we could have retained a 12-12 pitch on the roof because I think that would have fit better architecturally, but in order to try to keep the height down, we did not retain that 12-12. And now the units have a much, or the buildings themselves have obviously a much lower massing, visual presence. They're less vertical, and I guess you could argue that they're more in keeping with the height of the residence on the one side, while they're still dwarfed by the condominium building to the other side. But if you guys had any questions, I'm not going to belabor points.
We'll come back for questions. We'll
Okay.
finish the presentation. Thank you. No, thank you. So you have these in your handout, so I'll flip quickly through those elevations. Just to correct the record, we do have that those duplexes across the street were approved at 31 feet tall. What is proposed here today is 33 feet 5 inches. Just for comparison. We're also asked for a massing diagram, so there have been a few that we have handed out today as well. So this is the front view, just looking at the face of the proposed structures, showing the condo building to the left there, as well as the contributing structures to the right across Clay Street. And this is a view looking west. So if you're standing on Clay Street looking at the structure on the left there, that's one of those duplexes, those recently built duplexes. And on the right is 807 Clay, which is not in the district. This is not any particular view of the neighborhood. This is a simple comparison with some other structures that do exist in the neighborhood. We have heard that Glenwood Avenue in particular is outside the bounds of what should be considered. We'll just note that Glenwood Avenue, particularly the odd number side, is within 2 blocks of this site. So still quite close, but in any event, those are some taller structures than are currently proposed here today. In addition, there are several examples of 2-story buildings like this one within this part of the district, just as proposed today. And that is in an effort to show congruence. These are our models. So again, this is an applicant seeking to strengthen the district, who's listened to your concerns, taken them to heart, come back with a major change that we hope will result in a positive vote today. And our whole team is available to answer any of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. Are there members of the public who wish to provide comment on the application? All right, seeing none. Please introduce yourself and provide your address.
Kathleen McQuaid, 802 Brooklyn Street.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may proceed.
First of all, regarding what the attorney said, it doesn't matter that the apartment building on St. Mary's Street is however many stories tall it is. It's not part of the historic district. One needs to kind of turn one's back on it to see the neighborhood. It doesn't matter that, pardon me, the character is not appropriate to the neighborhood. The neighborhood is primarily single-family houses. This doesn't look anything like a single-family house. I'm an architect, a registered architect, but you can just tell by looking at it. The massing is totally inappropriate. It's the little dinky porches, not appropriate, does not fit in with our neighborhood. Our neighborhood has been on attack from all sides. The builder who wants to put up 12 stories on West Street would throw a shadow across the whole neighborhood in Fletcher Park. What else? There's so many things. The bar at the corner of P Street is going to be yet more noise that we have to contend with. The way you destroy a historic neighborhood is by chipping away at the edges. And this project chips away at the edges. It's not appropriate. It's not historic. It doesn't look like it's historic. And I hope that you'll say no. Thank you.
I have no questions for the witness, but I would like to rebut some of that testimony. In particular, just to clarify that where the condo building was mentioned, that was in the context of describing the other path possible here, which would be the rezoning of the property, which would take it out of the district and be more like those other surrounding buildings. Some distinctions were noted between this proposal and some other historic buildings in the district, and I'll just note that there's not a requirement here that there be a replica offered. There are, in fact, distinctions are necessary to meet the guidelines. There has to be some way to distinguish these new structures from the historic structures. I was sad to hear that there's an opinion that this is chipping away at the edges. The goal is to stay in the district here. There is no desire to get out to do what would happen under without this overlay. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. Are there additional members of the public who'd like to provide comment on the application? Please state your name and address.
Janine Grissom, 715 Gaston Street.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
You may proceed.
I was going to speak to the height issue, but since they've lowered that, then that takes care of that. But the people that I spoke with in the neighborhood, the other issue that they have is on the massing, and we were under the impression you couldn't recombine the lots. That was part of what we were under the impression of. So I don't know if that's changed or not, but the fact that it's the massing is the other big issue for us. So we wanted just to remind y'all that that was part of what we considered to be an issue of historic precedent for this area. And I guess I just want to point out this concern. I guess this might not be, but the big concern for a lot of us is that we're trying to preserve the houses. And if you can tear them down after a year and then build back something that doesn't look like what you tore down or doesn't blend in with what the houses that have been there before, then you're kind of losing the historic nature of the community, which is something we all really wanted. Because our zoning before, in '84, we rezoned the neighborhood and wrote our own zoning, and it was stricter than the historic districting that we have now. But in the rewrite of the zoning code, they took that away and told us that we could have historic districting, it would do the same thing. And apparently that's not what we're feeling right now. So I just wanted to pass that on to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. I have, again, no questions for the witness. Just one reminder for the committee that the lots are considered vacant for purposes of the review. We heard a concern to preserve the historic houses. This is considered a vacant lot for this purpose. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there additional members of the public who'd like to provide comment on the application? All right, seeing none, we'll proceed with committee questions. If there are any.
Question for staff. the amended application on page 6 of the PDF, it mentioned updates to pages 6 through 78. So those are all the inserted pages.
Correct. I believe those are all the new, what
Okay.
was provided most recently.
Okay. And then a couple questions for the applicants. Might want you to come back to the podium if you don't mind. Either Molly or David. It's about the application. Okay, so appreciate the updated application and updated presentation. Could you help? We received several new documents, and mainly are the elevations different than what's in the amended application? Because just at a glance, they look very similar to the amended application for today's meeting.
They are not different. We just wanted to submit them as part of the hearing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Got
Also,
it.
I would like to clarify. Pages 2 through 5 were the most recent submission for this meeting. The 6 through 78 pages were previously submitted for the August meeting. And then
Thank you.
79 through 120 is the initial submittal.
Okay, understood. Thanks for clarifying. And just so we're clear, I do think the 10% line you added on the elevation was very helpful. In the presentation you showed, which is like the PowerPoint slideshow, it looked like there was an exhibit that showed it in comparison to some of the other taller structures. I think that's, just for what it's worth, I find that to be a very helpful exhibit. That's not in the posted application, though. This is the first time we're receiving that, right? Okay.
This comparison,
Just wanted to make
too.
sure I didn't
That's right.
overlook it. Okay. And it did not, and where I'm going with this is it did not look, I know you took out a floor, which you're clearly listening to our feedback. It didn't look like there was an updated floor plan. So I just want to make sure generally the first floor, the form of the plan is the same as what was submitted previously. Okay, got it. Sorry.
Yes, I did ask that question. I did not note it in the application materials, but I did confirm that when the new elevations were submitted.
Sure. Okay. I don't have any other questions right now. Thank you.
Any other questions from the committee?
Yeah, I guess just a more specific version of Rob's question, but like the overall building footprint is the same, has not expanded as a result of the height change, correct?
That's right. The site plan has not changed, so
Okay.
the footprint remains.
I have a question. Are the updated diagrams that we received for the front elevation, were all the elevations shown with adjacent structures? I know on the front elevation with comparable structures within the district, are those comparable structures contributing, or they're just comparable in size?
Yes, these are contributing.
Okay.
Any additional questions from the committee? All right, hearing none, we'll close the evidentiary hearing and bring the matter to the table for committee discussion.
I'll open up. In the last meeting, I know I was one of the commissioners who was direct about the sort of two paths that this project could be taking, one of which disregarding, I felt, its space inhabiting a historic district. And I think that this updated application, in my view, makes a huge concession towards congruity, and I really do appreciate it. A lot of the exhibits that you presented today are extremely convincing. I especially think the diagram that presents contributing structures with your updated front massing is very convincing, and For the fact that of the type of building you are, in this district, townhomes would be new. It was a challenge from the start to find something that would fit your goals and fit into this district. So taking an entire floor out was, I know, a concession, and it is appreciated. So for me, I think that with the clarification that this building has not increased in size in any other dimension and has only been reduced, I feel like that was a move that, for me, even though it's the structures that echo its height are not directly next to it, I do think that we're finding examples that are within the district. And so for me, I do think that this is a convincing application.
Yeah, and I'll piggy onto that. Concerning height, the proposed structure will be 33 feet 5 inches, 2 stories measured from Brooklyn Street, while the neighboring contributing structures on Brooklyn are primarily 1 and 1.5 stories. And the special character essay for the district notes that homes in the Brooklyn section of the district tend to be smaller and more modest. State case law requires that we consider the height of proposed structures in comparison to the district as a whole. And the applicant has provided examples of at least two contributing structures that are taller than the proposed structure, and that being 1218 Glenwood at 36.5 feet and 901 Glenwood at 42.7 feet. I think the applicant has, in their amended presentation, minute application, address the height concerns, and that the height is congruous with the character of the district. Any other discussion from the committee?
I still don't, what am I saying? In terms of looking at the guidelines, 3.3, new construction of primary buildings, I'm going to start with the first one. Site new construction to be congruous with surrounding historic, I'm sorry, not with that one. The second one, design new construction so that the overall character of the site topography, character, defining site features, trees, and significant district vistas and views are retained in regards to the overall mass and the character of the site. I think that the character of the site is drastically altered by combining these lots. The lots in the Glenwood Brooklyn Historic District are smaller. It says that in the character defining essay. And if we move on to guideline 7, design new buildings to be congruous with surrounding buildings that contribute to the special character of the historic district in terms of height, form, size, scale, massing, proportion, architectural style, and roof shape. And while I do agree, I think the height is now within what we would consider congruous. I have not seen evidence that the form, size, scale, or massing is congruous with this district.
Following up on Melissa's comments, a question for probably our council. We've heard some discussion about the lots, and this appears about either recombination or whatever. Is that within our purview, or is that something that's later on down the path?
It really is not within your charge. It's later on down the path, and in my view, it's permissible.
Okay. Permissible for us to consider, or?
No, the recombination is permissible.
Later on down the path outside of our purview?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
I'll just say, Melissa, where even with the amended application, the only concern I had was basically what you just described, which is taking the character of multiple buildings, multiple lots. We do see this type of product a lot of places, and I was around town where it would maybe be 6 continuous units rather than the break in it. I know it's not the same block form that's there. I feel like just looking at the site plan, there is kind of like a stepping in and out that's not necessarily represented in these line drawings. They look very flat, but there is some definition. I'm not saying it's the exact same, but if I take into consideration just the context of what's nearby it, even admittedly, it's not in, when I say nearby, I mean, it's technically outside of the district, but it's right next door. It feels like I think it's doing a pretty admirable job at trying to transition from, tall multifamily down to the context of the neighborhood. So we don't have to agree on that, but I think it would be very unlikely that we would see an application where there were 4 individual buildings. And that's speculative, but
I just didn't hear you say that it was congruous with the guidelines.
I think it is more congruous with than where we were a month ago with it. Based on height, I tend to think it fits the site pretty well, mainly in that it doesn't seem like there's admittedly some cut to the site, but they do already have a demolition permit for what is on the site. So I'm seeing it as kind of a blank slate. Yeah.
Any additional comments, discussion from the committee?
I have one minor sticking point, and this is in terms of the details that were provided or the specifications and the windows and this conflicting information, because the windows are called out as fiberglass with simulated divided lights, but then the image of the simulated divided lights shows a wood-clad unit, not a fiberglass unit. So I would just like clarification.
Is that something that you all can address?
And I believe
Or
that
staff?
at one point, the applicant confirmed at one of our prior meetings that the windows proposed are fiberglass.
They will be fiberglass, yes. So simulated divided light to mimic the windows.
Just come on up to the microphone.
Thank you. Yes, they will be fiberglass simulated divided light so that they will mimic the windows. There will not be any grill between the glasses to kind of look like some of the lesser, lower price point construction that you see in other areas. We are going to do our level best to make this look as much like the existing structures in this district as we possibly can. It's important to us as well.
While we have the applicant, any other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Just for the record, I'll reclose the evidentiary hearing, bring the matter back to the table for discussion. Further discussion from the committee? All right, hearing none, based on the application presented by the applicant and the staff report, I move that the application be approved, subject to the following conditions. 1, that the fiber cement or composite trim be painted and installed with the smooth side facing out. 2, that the metal roofing, if any, have flat pans with no striations or ridges. 3, that the following be provided to and approved by staff prior to issuance of the blue placard. A, section drawing for front porch columns and railings. B, manufacturer specifications and section for windows. C, manufacturer specification and section for doors. 4, that detailed drawings and/or specifications for the following be provided to and approved by staff prior to installation or construction. A, eave and soffit construction details. B, screened porch construction details and section. C, standing seam roof specifications, including flat pan width, rib height, low ridge cap profile, and finish, if any. D, garage door specifications. E, HVAC location and screening details. F, exterior lighting, including location on the building, if any. G, concrete porch floor finish. H, front walk and driveway material and finish. I, installation location and specifications for gutters and downspouts, if any. And J, house numbers, electrical panel location, mailbox location, and all other exterior elements not included in the application. So a motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion or debate? Hearing none, question for the committee's approval of the application subject to stated conditions. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Opposed.
Opposed.
All right, I believe those Jordan and Melissa. Is that everyone? Okay, so that'll be, what, 3-2. All right, congratulations. The application has been approved, and the decision will be final after next month's meeting when the minutes are approved and signed. Thank you. All right, next item on today's agenda is COA 117-2025, 920 West Lenore Street. Aaron, is that your case? Or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Give us just a minute to reset.
Sure. We'll be at ease for just a moment. I recognize staff for their presentation.
All right, this is case COA 117-2025. The address is 920 West Lenore Street in the Boylan Heights Historic District, and the request is to construct a 5-foot fence. You can see from this diagram the atypical nature of the lot, and we've got some photos that are updated. As a reminder, some of you, maybe all of you, were on the committee when this was brought forward for an after-the-fact application previously. Some of that work is still going to be reflected in these photos, but this is a new request to help correct some of that work. So that was the front facade, and this is that side yard that's currently fenced in. And a look toward the west side elevation of the house and the existing fence on the right. And back the other way along the same property line. And a view from the alley where another portion of fencing is proposed to be replaced with a new type. The summary of staff concerns, we're providing a proposed site plan to confirm the fence location in all areas, and then the no tree protection measures were provided. And the applicants are here. We can swear them in so they can use their words. And we've got some new information to share.
All right, go ahead and please introduce yourself.
Jessica Baker.
And Lisa Dombrowski.
All right, please raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Yes.
You may proceed.
So I think you're getting the tree protection plans.
Yeah. I'm getting the two.
Make sure you talk into
Oh, sorry.
What you're getting in your hands are the two follow-ups to the staff concerns. So a document from the fencing company that states that they will adhere to the root protection guidelines and follow up accordingly with an arborist in the event that they can't put the tree or the fence posts in the place that they've dedicated. And then a copy of the survey with the most accurate drawing that I could do, showing inside the property line. And it won't go any further than it is existing. So it'll basically back up from where the fence you see in this photo is to behind that front corner, and then it'll run straight, I don't know, parallel to the house, and then cut up to the fence of the neighboring yard.
All right, is that all?
That's all.
Okay. I'll go ahead and ask the question. Are there members of the public who'd like to provide comment on the application? Seeing none, we'll proceed with committee questions.
Yeah, hi. So the red line on this drawing,
That's the property line.
that's the property line, and the blue line is the fence, the
Correct.
proposed fence.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
And I think it was clear in the application, but thanks for the presentation. The current fence that kind of fronts the sidewalk will all be removed?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
even on the far side of the
Yeah.
porch? Okay. And Aaron, I think you were maybe driving the presentation. Is that correct? The staff report mentioned a tree whose critical root zone needed consideration. Is that like where the one on the right there? Yeah. Okay. So even where they're proposing to put the fence would still be considered critical root zone?
Very likely,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
That's a large
yeah.
tree.
Yeah. Okay. And so the fence is really just based on this site plan exhibit. It's basically coming across the front yard here and then enclosing kind of along the alley. That right, like it looks like it's closing in the back of your house along the alley, but there's none of this
Nothing on
fence
that side.
is proposed along
Correct.
Lenore to the east of
Correct.
of your house. Okay, got it. Okay, I don't think I have any other questions.
Any other questions from the committee? All right, hearing none, we'll close the evidentiary hearing and move to committee discussion. Y'all can have a seat. Thank you.
Maybe this is a question for anyone who feels like answering it. Can we consider these two exhibits to be, I guess, responses to conditions 2A and 2B, and we wouldn't need to include those in the potential conditions, or is it still like technically this hasn't been submitted to staff?
You have received this, so you have the ability to look it over and think if it satisfies what you think is needed for the project. I'd also point you to evaluate condition 1 as well,
right?
Depending on what's proposed in the written measures.
Thank you.
I mean, it's an odd shaped lot, and I'm sympathetic to that. I feel like we should point out that, guideline 1.4.11, fences and walls, it's not appropriate to introduce visually opaque fences taller than 42 inches that are more than 65% solid in the front yard area and or side yard unless evidence exists. And a prior application did have a house relatively nearby that had a similar fence as what's being proposed along a side yard. That has actually been removed since this application, and then we even see a fence, at the neighboring house, which, definitely comes into the front yard, but we're not, advising on that. I'm just acknowledging that we are looking at a fence that goes against those guidelines. Admittedly, it's only 4 feet tall with +1 of, transparent or semi-transparent screening. Just acknowledging that it is more of a privacy fence than a 42-inch high fence. I feel like them removing the prior fence is very helpful, and then this is also being proposed to not extend, on the more visually exposed side, what I would call the public side of their property. So
Sort of southeast corner, if you will,
yeah,
of the triangle.
Yeah. And as far as the design goes, there are several, I can think of a few within this district that have a very similar fence design. So I'm not in any way objecting to the design. It's just the placement of it.
Any additional comments? No.
No.
Rob, are you saying you're a no for this?
I would have appreciated the fence being back further in the side yard. I think that would be more contextually appropriate. But this lot is also an atypical lot within this district, and that they are at least back to the primary structure and not the porch, I think is helpful. But if you look around the context outside of this one non-congruous fence next door. They do generally start towards the back of the primary structure, typically speaking, not towards the front of it. But that I also understand that would be defeating to what they're trying to do here.
But it would meet the guideline if the solid portion were reduced to 42 inches from 48.
Maybe,
but I think it would need to be
Just
42, and I think it would need to meet all parts of that guideline to be congruous.
Well, I think it would because it says it's not appropriate to introduce visually opaque screening, and the lattice is not visually opaque. So if the solid was at 42 and the lattice was above, I think.
Microphone.
Sorry. What would not be meeting that guideline?
Well, I think so. There's the visually opaque screening
Oh, more than
plantings
65.
walls.
Sorry,
right.
yes, I understand
Then-
now. I get
yeah,
it
then
now.
there's
Okay, yeah.
or, and then there's another or. So there's no like and. So it's either it's 42 or it's not, or it's less than 65%.
Yeah, I think it would become a different design at that.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, we've had some nitpicking on the wording of this guideline. The way
Sure.
it's typically been applied is both of those things need to be achieved to be congruous.
Yeah.
In typical situations, yeah.
But again, I'm acknowledging it's a very atypical lot configuration. So their rear yard is reduced to almost nothing already because of the lot configuration. Understand the desire for privacy, and also we're not talking about an addition. We're talking about a fence that is not. It's permanent while they're there, but it's not.
Right. Permanent.
It's not necessarily like a major structure.
So are you okay with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a good justification for it. Yeah, I felt like as I looked back through the guidelines, we needed to acknowledge that so that we, if we see something else similar in the future, I think this is a unique contextual situation
Yes. Agreed.
where it makes sense. So.
All right. Having heard that, I'll go ahead and move that based on the application presented by the applicant and staff report, that the application be approved, subject to the following condition. 1, that any new post holes in a critical root zone be dug manually, and tree roots larger than 1-inch caliper that are encountered while digging shall receive a clean final cut using tools designed for the purpose, such as loppers, and that tree roots larger than 2 inches caliper will not be cut. Motion's made. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion's approved. Application is approved unanimously. Congratulations. The decision will be final after next month's meeting when the minutes are approved and signed.
Perfect. Can I ask 2 questions?
Sure.
You said it'll be approved once everything is committed and signed.
So at next month's meeting, when the minutes are approved and signed, that is when the approval will be final.
Okay.
But any further timeline questions, staff will be able to help you out with that.
Okay, so until the next meeting, we can't call the fence company and say, hey, we can begin this?
You defer to
They have
staff on
a
that.
2-week lead time. I just wanna-
Technically, you should not until you have that official approval in your hand. We can't advise that you begin the work before you have that.
I just wanted to make sure that I.
However, the
understood.
conditions of your approval are just related to how you conduct that work in the critical root zone. So you don't have any conditions to meet or anything. It'll just be the day after the next meeting, we email you the placard and
Okay,
you can hit the ground.
perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Committee discussion. I'll bring up one item that Rob and staff are already aware of, but I will be resigning from RHDC effective at the beginning of the year because my job has adopted a meeting schedule that would have caused me to miss about half of the regular commission's monthly meetings. So it's really not beneficial or effective for you all to be at at least, how, do we have 12 people on the commission? Is that what we have? So half the year you don't want one person missing. So it's give y'all some lead time to get ready and find someone else to take over as chair.
Well, thank you, Wes, for mentioning that to the group, and thanks for letting us know about it. I think given very fair warning, but you've been a great chair of this committee, and be very sad to see you go, because often a voice of reason to a bunch of wily architects.
Surrounded by architects.
So we need to get our recruitment up for an attorney replacement, but there will be big shoes to fill. So thanks for all you've done, and yeah, you've done great at maintaining order in ways that I've been grateful for your leadership on.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other discussion?
Just generally, it's not to do with COA, but it is to do with QJ. At next month's full RHDC meeting, Pat is going to be in attendance to give the whole commission the very fun special rundown on how quasi-judicial hearings work, to help the full commission do the work of facilitating subdivision review. We're anticipating we'll have one of those come up soon. We had heard exactly one of those through our COA QJ function, but actually are not authorized to send it to that committee. It needs to be the full commission. So you'll be old hats, but we'll have a training next month. You can help your fellow commissioners. I was going to say get in line. That's a terrible thing to say. Understand the process so that they're ready to participate at a future meeting. But just a heads up that that's coming your way. It's, I guess, a refresher for this meeting also.
All right. Hearing none else, the meeting's adjourned.